What's up, guys, and welcome back to our Clone Wars Chronological Rewatch. Today we're getting into the Mortis arc, one of the weirdest things Star Wars has ever done, I think.
It's pretty out there.
And we're going to start with Overlords. So this episode kicks off with Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka responding to a distress call that hasn't been heard in 2,000 years. So that already makes me wonder, is the last time Mortis popped up, was that 2,000 years ago? Is this kind of a Neo situation in the Matrix where there are multiple chosen ones and every so often the father pops in to be like, are you the one? And then it's like, nope, you're not the one. But this time he finds Anakin.
Could be.
So they all get sucked into Mortis and they slowly meet the Force wielders, the father, the son, and the daughter. And people probably already know this, but the son embodies the dark side, the daughter embodies the light. They're constantly battling, and the father is trying to keep balance between the two.
So basically, any parent with any two siblings.
Sure. Or, any person, the father could be, I don't know, the brain or just yourself, and you're constantly at war with being selfless versus selfish.
Yeah.
So the father pulled them all in only to get Anakin because he believes that he's the chosen one, but he has to pass his test. But before that happens, all three of our heroes get a Christmas Carol style visit from specters from the past and the present and the future.
I think we see Qui-Gon first.
I can't remember. Yes, before Ahsoka. I can't remember if it's before Shmi, but I want to save Shmi for last anyway. So the theme of this episode is balance is found in the one who confronts his guilt. That's mostly to do with Anakin.
Yeah.
But I figured we could try to explore maybe what all of these visions mean if everyone's grappling with guilt, because I think they are.
Mm-hmm. So
we have Obi-Wan talking to Qui-Gon, his old master, and Qui-Gon's like, did you teach the boy? And he's like, yeah. I think that scene is about Obi-Wan feeling guilt for maybe not being the best master in his own head.
Mm-hmm. He's constantly probably beating himself up in his head about I could have done this better, which everyone does.
Right. And that, I think that is guilt in a fashion. And we even see one of the Age of Republic comics kind of deals with exactly that, where Anakin is much younger, but Obi-Wan feels so inept and he's not ready to do this. Mm-hmm. And of course he says in the original trilogy that he thought he was ready to be a teacher and he wasn't. I don't think what happened to Anakin is all his fault. I also think that there's a degree of when the Clone Wars happened, we see that the Jedi cut a lot of corners. They elevate Padawans who were not ready. Mm-hmm. And I expect that is what happened to Anakin. It seems like he stepped out of episode 2 and was promoted to a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't throw all of that at Obi-Wan's feet, but he's the kind of person that would probably throw it all on himself.
Yeah. And then we get Ahsoka has a vision of her older self, which is really interesting to see. After having seen her in Rebels, what they were thinking she would look like as an adult back then, it's different but interesting.
I was trying to reconcile that in my head. It's not that it's important at all, but it's implied that the son might be responsible for all these visions, so maybe that's just what his best guess was for future Ahsoka, or maybe it's something that's what she imagines that she might look like one day. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's something just mental going on there. And
yeah. But so I guess her guilt could be about being so much like her master and thinking that, Anakin isn't exactly the model Jedi that he should be, but he has guts, he uses his emotions, and it usually works out for the best, and she admires that a lot in him, but maybe she feels guilty that is her role model.
I think that's probably it. I mean, that's what old Ahsoka, Vision Ahsoka, warns her about, is her master. And she's like, no, I trust him with my life. I mean, I know he's not perfect, but who is? And it's like, yeah, Anakin's not the model Jedi. And then later on, like, neither is Ahsoka down the line. Like, she famously says, I am no Jedi. And yeah, I think that probably is kind of weighing on her. It's like, I want to be like him, but should I be like him? And yeah, she's probably feeling guilt for that.
Yeah.
But the big one is Shmi visiting Anakin, and that's the one that's like definitely the son messing with him,
because it's dark.
Oh yeah, it's dark, and he reveals himself at the end.
Yeah.
But he feels guilt for letting her die, not that it was his fault, but not returning like he promised he would. He admits what he did to the Tusken Raiders to her, like all of that. So what I liked most about that conversation was that the son, or Shmi, refers to Anakin's love as a prison. And we've seen it over and over in the Clone Wars that he is so possessive. We're going to see it later in the Mortis arc, but his love comes from a place of fear and like just not wanting to let anyone go or get away from him.
Yeah. And we see like later in the comics, he's still allowing his love for Padme torment him and keep him in this prison of hatred.
Yeah, I mean, hatred's a prison too. And that's like, it's interesting to see what a fine line he is on, where it's like, yeah, obviously he loves Padme and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, but it's in a way that traps him. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And speaking of all that, we get to the point where he has to pass the father's test, and the test is save Ahsoka or save Obi-Wan. And maybe Anakin feels guilt for feeling love, which is messed up.
Yeah, it's like, it's a whole big emotional kerfuffle.
Yeah, because
for lack of a better word.
The father keeps saying like, confront your guilt, embrace your power, stuff like that. And Anakin refuses to play the game and is able to control both the son and the daughter through, I would say, the dark side. I mean, he seems pretty angry about what he's being put through.
Well, Obi-Wan, during this fight, I guess you could call it, Obi-Wan is like, use the, like, this entire place is the Force, use it.
Yeah, but I think that it's implied he's using the wrong side, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because like the sky goes dark. He is definitely angry about the thought of his apprentice and his master being killed.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting start to the arc, and still, like, to this day, I think it's very weird.
It's just it's an interesting sidetrack of a story compared to the rest of the Clone Wars, and it gets into some really cool Force related stuff. But yeah, it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, there's these all-powerful Force wielders, and there's a good one and a bad one, and the father, and where's the mother? Are there cousins?
Well, the mother is Abeloth in Star Wars Legends.
Yeah.
It feels like so different from the rest of the Clone Wars. And I remember the first time I saw it, just not knowing how I felt about it. But still, like, anytime there's reference to Mortis or the Force wielders, like in Star Wars Rebels, when they found that mural, I got real excited. Mm-hmm. Like, it's something that I think is odd, but really, really compelling.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much Overlords. Anakin proves that he is the Chosen One. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Anakin doesn't believe in the Chosen One prophecy.
Yeah. And that's kind of weird.
Yeah, like it seemed like Ahsoka and Obi-Wan definitely do, because I think the daughter is the first one to see them, and she's like, is he the one? And they both like react to that. I think they know that they're after Anakin, But he's like, the Chosen One prophecy is nothing. And
it's interesting because, like, that's the whole reason why he became a Jedi and why Obi-Wan trained him, was because Qui-Gon was like, he's the Chosen One.
Yeah.
But he's just not accepting that.
Well, it's a fate that he didn't choose and he doesn't want. Yeah. And he doesn't want it at the end of this. Like, he proves himself to be the Chosen One, and he's still like, nah, I gotta bounce.
Well, like, and he certainly, like, he says, like, if I'm the Chosen One, I certainly am not going to spend my time here controlling your kids.
It's not my job.
Babysitting your kids. Absolutely not.
Yeah. But I thought that was really interesting because I can't really recall any time where he talks about being the Chosen One. Everyone always, like, yells it at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though Anakin proves himself to be the Chosen One, he chooses to leave and they fly away, and that's the end of Overlords. But it also starts this, like, cycle for these episodes where it's like they're leaving, and then at the start of the next one it's like, no, they're not. But we will talk about that. The next episode is Altar of Mortis next time. So if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.